But well, today we are going to talk about some of the red flags coming from a man's point of view. I really want this to come from a man, not a woman. Some of the red flags that, we have people have to look out for when they are getting into this whole interracial thing. What are some of the red flags? But the question is, was I a red flag?
Everyone should be a red flag at first.
Okay.
And I say that, remember when you met me, I was an admin, still am,
Yes.
for an interracial dating site.
Yeah.
So part of my job was to look out for red flags. So when you first meet someone,
Mm-hmm.
well, especially online, I'll talk about online.
Yeah.
If the photos look really good and he looks too good to be true, he probably is too good to be true. So we used to reverse search the images and we'd find out it was of an American doctor or...
Okay, so fast pause there. When someone's photo is too good to be true, you need to think twice.
Yeah.
Reverse search
the image
on
Google and see if it comes up with anyone else.
See if it comes up as anyone else. Okay, that is something that a lot of people didn't know actually. A lot of people.
Yeah, we'd get like American doctors, high profile American doctors' photos being used.
Mm-hmm.
Minor politicians. They're not always the obvious ones like Brad Pitt.
Yeah.
Or, Arnold Schwarzenegger. They can be quite innocuous people, like an Italian model's photos being used or something. And the same goes men and women, because sometimes you will get men posing as women and they'll do the same thing. They'll steal the photos off the internet.
Mm-hmm.
Or you may even find they've used someone else's photos off of Facebook. Yes. So they're saying they're Bob from London, and really they're not. They're Ian from Liverpool. So it's quite difficult at first.
So reverse searching a photo is something that people should actually be looking into.
Yeah, and an admin on a good group will be doing it.
Yeah.
So anything that looked even remotely suspicious, we reverse search.
But you did a great job with that Facebook group, And are you still there?
I'm still admin, but I don't ever go there. I only go there if Chris so the guy that runs it's a guy called Chris.
Yeah.
If Chris gets something that he thinks is suspicious because of my job,
yeah,
I'll get a message saying, Damon, can you look into this? Because my full-time job is also really to look out for people that are dodgy.
Yeah, that is true. But you remember when initially you inboxed me with a different account?
Yeah. So, but that was obvious because it was Donnie Trump, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was so obvious.
And I was honest about it.
Yeah, you were honest about it. Though I didn't raise eyebrows.
The problem is, okay, so from an admin perspective, so generally someone who was using a second account, you would see as a red flag.
Yeah.
But if they're an admin of a group, because of the level of abuse you get,
yes,
you don't necessarily want the profile that's got your family on it.
Yeah.
You want a profile, because when you catch someone out, they don't like it.
Yeah.
So you don't really want anything that links to your family. So that's why Donnie Trump was used, and also my other account that was a girl that used to, so I would converse as a girl with a man, and mainly because someone has said he sent me a picture of his dick within 2 messages. See if he sent me a picture of his dick, and then we knew to kick him out. Because Chris always wanted it to be a very honest site, and he was very conscious about protecting the girls from everyone. So yeah, there was Heather that was Chris, and there was the other one whose name I won't give that was me, because Heather got banned because Heather was bad. So we'd even engage in conversation to see if a guy is genuine on there.
Oh, I get it now. I get it. It makes much more sense. So what are other red flags that people need to really look out for?
The other red flag is if they won't video call, and if they video call you in low light.
Yeah.
Now, because of AI, it makes you slightly more...
It makes
more difficult. Yeah. So my tip to the girls is when they're sitting there talking, say, oh my God, is that a spider behind you? And see if they look round. If they look round, there's more chance of it being genuine. If they just respond looking at the camera it's probably AI.
Yeah. Wow.
Because AI doesn't know to respond to those prompts.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I like that picture, because the natural thing is to look. If they don't look, then you can make an assumption it's someone sitting in a cafe in Ghana or Nigeria that's actually running the show.
It makes much more sense. Then the other thing is, I think I can add something. Also, men asking for nudes, like from the very word go.
Yeah, I see a lot of conversations. I saw one. Chris asked me about one yesterday, I think.
Mm-hmm.
No, someone actually posted on there,
Mm-hmm.
and Facebook put up an alert saying about
nudes.
That the guy had asked for nudes within probably like, hi, I like fun, sort of thing. That was the conversation. So yeah. I think that if someone wants you to send nudes and you're not comfortable with sending them,
be open about
then
it.
you'd be open about it. If you're comfortable with it, then do it, but be cautious. I wouldn't say it's a totally bad thing. It just depends on the state where you are in the conversation, how far you've been talking. So yeah, it's a difficult one.
It's that bit of it is very difficult. But then there are really also good men out there who don't ask for.
They don't ask for it, no.
I don't even remember. You never even brought a conversation like that.
Yeah, I didn't, but you've got to accept that some people are different and want different things from it. And that's why I say it's not necessarily a bad thing if it's in the correct context of where the relationship is.
Where the relationship is.
So yeah, but someone who sort of asks them straight away, they're probably married, probably got no money. And also, obviously, now there's the risk that these nudes will be sold online.
Yeah.
So that's something else you've got to take into account.
There's
so many different.
Yeah. The other bit is there are men who are probably not willing to come see the woman as well.
Yeah. So one of the red flags that I had to deal with in the group was a girl from South Africa who met someone in London.
Yeah.
And he was insisting that she travelled to London rather than him going to South Africa. And that to me is a red flag, because you've got a young girl or a lady who is going to a country on her own where she knows someone. Well, she doesn't know anyone except for this one person. Yes. She's got no family. So that's quite worrying from a human trafficking perspective. But in the same breath, you would have to be very cautious as a man as well.
Yeah.
If you're travelling to some countries where you might think you're going to meet a woman and there's 10 men there. So all of these work both ways. I spoke to a woman once who said she was in the Afghanistan, in the American Army in Afghanistan, and I knew it was false. So we tracked the IP and it went back to Ghana.
So the person was actually in Ghana.
Fake. And they had video called people and everything, and in a military uniform that looked like it was Afghanistan. But it was only when we'd done an IP search and I said, listen, you're in Ghana. And it turned out to be a man in Ghana who was doing it. So yeah,
it's crazy with this whole interracial thing. You just don't know what to expect at the end of the day. Yeah, but we can't rule out the fact that there are genuine people also out there.
There are genuine people out there, and the genuine ones are quite easy to spot. They're not particularly hard, but if your gut, and what I say to people is everyone I've spoken to who's had this situation had bad feeling about it.
Yes.
But went on with it.
Yeah.
If you get a bad feeling, walk away, because the feeling's generally
that bad feeling thing, always, there's a way it always saves you if you do listen to it. But then also looking at the red flags on the women's side, the African women's side.
If they ask you for money straight away, it's the same as the nude situation.
Yes.
The context of money
that
is the same as the nude. A dodgy man will ask for a nude within 3 seconds, and a dodgy woman will ask for money within 3 seconds.
Now, let me try and highlight on that. A lot of women want to get into relationship with the expectation of money. You get, so from the very word go, you've not even had further discussions or just, just had normal talks with a man and get to just know how life could be between the two of you.
I think I would differentiate between two things. I would differentiate because if a woman says to a man, can you send me 10k airtime? I don't see that as a red flag.
Yeah.
Because she wants to continue the conversation and she can't necessarily afford the airtime.
Yeah.
Then asking for 10, 20k airtime.
Like you did send me airtime.
Yeah, and you changed it into money. Dickhead.
You sent me airtime. That money was too much at that point. Are you listening? It was just a lot of money at that point to actually begin saying, Lord, airtime? No.
Yeah, but it was to last a while. So that's the differences on the red flags with money.
So,
but the thing you will also find is that when we talk about the marriage idea, that men will see your method of doing things as a major red flag.
Our methods of doing things is a major red flag.
The 10 cows, 14 chickens, 4 goats, and a saucepan, and the bride price is a major red flag to a European or English or American male. And the reason for that is, in our culture, a woman is seen as a chattel.
Okay.
So within the European, American, UK culture, a woman has no value.
For real?
She's a chattel.
Oh my God.
Because historically, women don't go out and earn money. So if you go back, and it's not so much now, I'm talking historically, culturally, if you go back years and years and years and years and years and years and years, the woman's only job was to raise the children and cook the food.
Yeah.
She had no financial value. The man went out to work and done all the work. So in our service, there's a bit where the bride's father gives her away.
Yes.
And basically that bit is saying, take this girl off my hands, I don't have to support her anymore.
Wow.
So when you look at that with the way that you work, where there's a bride price, even though the man doesn't think of you as a chattel, it's a red flag because you're not asking for a small amount of money.
Yeah.
You're asking for dining tables, sofas, kitchens. And that,
I see where this is going.
And that's where you have to meet them. If you want it to be successful, if you want it to go ahead without any resentment, you've got to meet halfway culturally.
True.
If you don't, there will be forever, not necessarily from him, but from his family. Because they will say, how dare that woman's family ask that man for that money?
I get it. I don't want to go to the other topic.
What's the other topic?
Oh, you just talked about it.
Yeah, well, so, no, it does need to be said that it's so cultural. In the UK, it is the bride's parents' responsibility to pay for everything to do with the wedding. That's evolved now. But most couples pay for themselves. If you go back 10 years, the bride's mother and father paid for everything to get the woman off their hands because they couldn't bring any money into the house.
Oh wow, that's impressive. I've learned something as well today. However, we've exhausted mostly the red flags on the men's side and etc.
The other red flag as well, and this is the biggest scam there is, and I'll tell people now, it's when the man or the woman says they're going to send you a parcel.
Oh yes.
You then get a text message from a parcel company saying you need to go to the airport and pay lots of money.
Yeah.
Now, I dealt with one of those cases professionally. Again, it was a girl in South Africa. She'd sent the dude nudes. He'd sent the parcel. She'd rumbled it. He got offensive and he was going to post the nudes online unless she paid a certain amount of money. And at that point, I got involved professionally and got Interpol involved. And magically, they disappeared off the scene. So
I trust you on that.
So that was quite big because I had to get UK police involved. Even though she was South African, who then contacted the South African police, who then contacted Interpol, and the whole scam was organised within South Africa. So there was no person overseas, but we did bring that gang down quite forcefully.
Wow!
Gave them a slap.
Now, on the women's side, to be honest, yes, as we talked about asking for money from the very word go, in as much as a woman would expect a man to provide as time goes on. Say, for example, you're communicating with this girl every single day, and honestly, there is not much that they are having to keep the communication going with you. I think it's just fine to say, let me send airtime for us to keep online.
Yeah, airtime's fine.
You get that is very fine. But the whole thing of a girl, wanting so much from the very word go, I expect this kind of money.
Some girls will get away with it, but you've got to look at it.
There are girls who get away with it.
You've got to look at it again. You're not just talking about the guy, you're talking about his family. And if in any way, shape or form you're serious about him and he's sending you loads and loads of money, his family will never accept you. Because culturally, in the white culture, you don't finance anything until you're married, and the man controls the finances. And if the man says you can't afford it, you can't afford it. You don't argue. Maybe the same in African culture, probably worse. But that's where I think that some African girls get it a little bit wrong. They think, oh, I've got this white guy. He's so much different to an African guy. I can dictate and milk him dry.
But then again, I think aside from that, when it comes to the marriage side of things, I think families should learn how to meet these people 50-50, because at the end of the day, you're dealing with two cultures here.
But I'd also say just because it's culture doesn't mean it's right.
Yeah.
And that's where some people go wrong. They think my culture is my culture, therefore it's right. It doesn't mean it's right.
It doesn't.
If you look all over the world, and people will hate me saying this, if you look at the most successful countries, they have very little culture. Unless you start talking about the Arab states where the wealth is built on oil and it's just natural, there's oil, they're going to be wealthy. If you look at all the countries that struggle economically, they have deep-rooted cultures. If you look at all the countries that are financially successful, they don't have those cultures. And that's because the philosophy is, just because it's culture doesn't mean it's right. Whereas there's a sort of a philosophy across a lot of different African countries saying that our culture is right, everyone else's is wrong.
Yeah.
And if you do that, you can't be successful as a person or a country.
Well, thank you for that.
So I shot that with it, didn't I?
Yeah. So on the other hand, I think our families should also learn to meet themselves 50-50, as I had earlier said, because to them, culture is a red flag as well. So sit down, understand where this person, do you really want to be with this person? Do you want to drain them completely? Because, there is life after marriage.
Yeah. And
there is serious life after marriage.
What the parents are doing is they're taking the finances out of that marriage and they're taking the money away for that man to support their daughter. And that should be most important. But the concept is, when a black girl marries a white man, that rather than saying we want 5 cows, they'll want 10. Rather than 10 goats, they'll want 20. Rather than 30 chickens, they'll want 60.
Pause a bit. Their families, their cultures here, I think mostly in the West, and also probably depends on the family. Many often times when the girl marries, whatever they have brought, the parents give it back to them. But it's more in the West.
Yeah, so
it's more in the West as compared to any other place, unless it's probably a family that really understands where these two are coming from. And, there are people looking, there are people who have come for the marriage. What have they brought?
Yeah, but that shouldn't be part of it.
You get.
That shouldn't even remotely be part of it. You might have a husband and wife struggling to raise their children because they paid so much in bride price.
True.
So, yeah. And I know everyone will hate me because I don't believe in buying someone. And the other thing from the Western philosophy is that the bride price is seen as the man buying the girl. Even though that's not the intention, that's how it's seen. When a white guy meets a black girl, they'll either have two responses. One response will be, no, I'm not paying that. I'm not going to pay that because it's wrong to sell their daughter.
Wow.
The other perspective will be, I own her now. I'll pay that money. So there you go. And yeah.
Well, as we've all seen, just a few tips on how to, try and get to understand these red flags. But remember, the red flags tend to apply to both the men and the women. Even lately, men are becoming super scammers when it comes to this. And then
the problem is with technology. Technology advances, and technology is a good thing.
Yeah.
It becomes easier for people of low moral standards to scam.
Yeah.
So it will only get worse.
Yeah.
Unless Facebook, because one of the problems we had with Facebook is they won't deal with fake accounts.
Yeah. True.
They only dealt with Donald Trump because Donald Trump complained. But yeah, there's a reluctance to deal with, and our photos have been used.
Yeah.
By another dating company.
Oh yes, a lot of our
Facebook.
Photos. Yes.
And I had to threaten Facebook with legal action to get them taken down before they do anything. Because this dating company is saying, we made this couple, John and Deborah, happy. Well, I'm not John and she's not Deborah. It's crazy.
Someone comes and picks your photos and then says, we did connect these people. But just for clarification purposes, we met on Facebook. Okay? He was an admin in a dating group. I was a member of that group. A really less active member of that
And my
group.
first opening line was, I'm really bored, you want to chat. Because when you spend 13, 14 hours a day on a dating site and you deal with every single dickhead you could ever imagine.
Well, I've kept you company till today, right? And we're still going.
And you're still nagging. By the way, if she says to you within like 10 years of marriage she wants a car and it's a big deal, that's a major red flag.
So you're indirectly saying there are some red flags about me, right?
Just got to respect each other's. And let me just finish on one thing. You may think that the man you meet is earning a lot of money, and he probably is.
But I do.
No, I'm not talking about you. I'm talking in general. Don't worry about what they earn.
Yeah.
Because it's irrelevant. Because their costs are so much higher. You know, a cheap house in the UK to rent is, where I work, you won't get anything less than 6 million shillings rent.
Yeah.
Then the electric will be another 1 million shillings a month. And then the gas is another 1 million shillings a month. And then, you know, water is like 600,000 a month. So you've got to take into account, in real terms, he's probably no better off than you are. If you when you get into a country with high earnings, the costs will always be higher because the banks want your money and the politicians want your money and they don't want people to be wealthy. So you will pay more. Yeah. Like, you know, when Gabby had her diabetes, how much did it cost us? What was it? 2-3 million?
Yeah.
In the UK, that would have cost you 400 million.
Wow.
In America, it would cost you even more.
Yeah.
So when you think that when a man says, oh, I'm earning $16,000, he ain't never going to be able to come and see you because the cost of living is so high. So that's what you've got to be aware of. Like the guy we know with the girl who's managed to afford to come here once, she probably thinks he's relatively well off. He's not. He's poor. He'd be all right here. Yeah. In the UK, not he's there. Poor.
And as I said, I feel sorry for him. I
feel sorry for me.
What do you mean you feel sorry for him? What?
I'm playing.
I'm not extravagant. Just to clarify things.
That's a matter of opinion.
Oh well, you guys have heard from the horse's mouth. At least this is coming.
Stop calling me a horse.
Okay, you have heard from my husband's mouth himself. He's a man, and a man's point of view is something which is very, very much relevant. So I hope you pick a leaf out of this and, you know, be wise as you are hitting dating sites, as you are, you know, chatting to people left and right. I just hope you are wise about that. So thank you very much. Please subscribe and